Welcome back everyone. This is a continuation of a little bit of an Illustrator tutorial for the sake of using the laser cutter. A couple of things just to point out with this video. I've pre-drawn some shapes here, and just please take note that if you were using these as cutting lines, they're not going to work because they're using that black line, and they've also got a heavier line weight than is needed for the cutting lines. So I've just left these ones black for the moment for the sake of showing you in the video because it will be a little bit easier for you to see. So this video is going to focus around the Pathfinder tools today. And if you don't have the Pathfinder tools up and open on your screen, you'll find those under Window and Pathfinder. Okay, that's where you're going to find those ones. So always really handy to turn those ones on. All right, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you selecting these ones, and I'm going to align the top lines. So imagine that we were cutting this a piece of acrylic, for example, and we want to have a little notch cut out so that we can slot another piece of acrylic into that space. So what I've done is I've first of all drawn the large rectangle down on my screen, and then I've drawn the smaller rectangle. And for both of those, I actually went and assigned particular dimensions to them. It doesn't really matter what they are at the moment. I think from memory, this one was 30 millimeters by 3 millimeters, but that's not too important. What is important to know, guys, is that I've done it in that order. So the big one first, and then the smaller one. That means that these have been done in layers, and the small rectangle is sitting over the top of the big rectangle. When I then go and select both of these shapes, I can use a couple of different tools here in the Pathfinder tools. So the one that I'm going to show you to start with is this minus front. Okay, when I click on that, it is going to cut that top shape away from the bottom shape, which is really quite handy. Okay. The next tool that I'm going to show you is using these ones, and this time I'm going to align to a key object, and I'm going to say 0 millimeters with that vertical distribution. You can see now that the two rectangles that I've drawn are sharing a line. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is select both of those shapes again, and this time I'm going to use the Unite tool. And you can see with that Unite tool, it's blended the two shapes. All right. Now, the really important thing to understand here about the processes that I've gone through is that it's a very fast process. It also keeps all of our lines locked together as one profile or one shape. If I had used the individual line tool to draw this object, it would take me a lot longer, and it would consist of, what would we have? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. It would consist of 12 individual vector lines as opposed to one continuous profile or shape. So that's really, really handy to know. The next one I'm going to show you uses these two circles that I've drawn. In this case, guys, what I'm going to do is create like a donut. Now, you might be wondering what the purpose of doing this is, because if we were to cut these two shapes and align them perfectly the way that I've just done it, we would get the same result as what I'm kind of going to show you, but there is valid reason for doing what we're doing. Okay, so at the moment, if you can imagine the donut shape that I've created, the center of the donut will fall out and we'll be left with a ring. Okay, now what I'm actually going to show you is how we want to join these together so that it forms one shape and not two shapes. Okay, now at the moment we could select both of them, we could group them, but that's not really going to do what we want to do. What I actually want to do is select both of them and then use exclude, or you should find that even using minus front in this case, or one of the others might work as well, but we're going to exclude, and that then is then recognized as one shape. And if we were to assign a fill color to it, we can see that that fill color exists just in that ring space. Okay. Now, why would we want to do this? One of the reasons we might want to do this is because if I was to then create a square, say, like here, I can then select my two objects and use something like the minus front again to cut out that 90-degree space away from my shape. Okay, that allows you to do all sorts of things in a much easier, more efficient way.